Maya Rodriguez wiped the sweat from her forehead as she carried another box of cookies toward the airplane hangar. The Arizona sun beat down hard on Luke Air Force Base, but she did not mind. She had been planning this day for 3 months. Every year, Maya organized events to thank soldiers. It started small after her brother Danny died in Afghanistan. She would write thank you notes and leave them at the base gate. Then she began making care packages. Now she brought her whole elementary school class to meet the pilots and mechanics. "Miss Rodriguez, these cookies smell amazing," said Captain Jake Sullivan as he walked up to her. Jake was a test pilot, tall with brown hair and kind eyes. Maya had met him last year during her first visit to the base. "I stayed up until midnight making them," Maya said with a smile. "Chocolate chip are my specialty. My students helped mix the dough yesterday." Jake laughed. "The guys in my squadron will love these. We have been working long hours on a special project." Maya's 23 students ran around the hangar, looking at the fighter jets with wide eyes. Her teaching assistant, Mrs. Betty Cole, tried to keep them together in one group. Maya loved seeing their excitement. Many of these kids had never been on a military base before. "What kind of special project?" Maya asked as she handed Jake the box of cookies. Jake's face changed. He looked around nervously. "Oh, just some new airplane testing. Nothing too exciting." But Maya could tell he was hiding something. Jake was usually very open about his work. He loved talking about flying. "Can I put these cookies in your office?" Maya asked. "I brought enough for your whole team." "Actually, let me take those," Jake said quickly. "The hangar where we work is off limits today." Maya nodded, but she felt curious. She had been coming to this base for 2 years. She knew most of the hangars were open for visits. 20 minutes later, Maya was helping her students draw pictures of the airplanes they had seen. Little Tommy Martinez was drawing a jet with purple wings. Sarah Kim was making her airplane as big as the whole paper. "Mrs. Cole, I left my purse in the car," Maya said. "Can you watch the kids for a minute?" Maya walked back toward the parking lot, but as she passed Hangar 7, she heard strange sounds coming from inside. It was not the normal sound of airplane engines. This was different, like electricity buzzing, mixed with a low humming noise. The side door to the hangar was open just a crack. Maya knew she should not look, but her curiosity was too strong. She pushed the door open a little more and peeked inside. What she saw made her gasp. In the middle of the hangar sat something that was definitely not an airplane. It looked like a silver egg, but as big as a school bus. The surface was smooth and shiny, with no windows or doors that Maya could see. Blue lights pulsed along lines that ran around the strange object. Men in military uniforms and white lab coats stood around it, pointing instruments at the silver surface. Maya recognized some of the uniforms, but others looked different. Some of the people wore badges she had never seen before. "The hull is made of something we have never found on Earth," said a woman in a white coat. "It is stronger than our best steel, but weighs almost nothing." "What about the pilot?" asked a man in a green uniform. "Still alive, but barely. We cannot figure out how to open this thing without killing whatever is inside." Maya felt her heart racing. Pilot? What kind of pilot would fly something like this? She pushed the door open a little more to get a better look. The hinges made a small squeak. "Did you hear that?" asked the woman in the white coat. Maya held her breath. She pressed herself against the wall next to the door. "Just the wind," said another voice. "This desert air moves everything around." Maya waited for a few seconds, then looked again. Now she could see the other side of the silver object. There was a crack running down one section, and through the crack she could see something moving inside. Suddenly a voice spoke in her head, not through her ears but directly into her thoughts. "Help me." Maya jumped back from the door. Had she imagined that? "Please, they want to cut me open. I am not your enemy." This time Maya was sure. Someone, or something, was talking to her without speaking out loud. The voice sounded tired and scared. Maya looked through the crack again. The thing inside the silver object was moving more now. She could see part of a face that looked almost human, but with larger eyes and blue-gray skin. "I am Zeth. My ship crashed in your desert 3 days ago. I was running from the ones who destroyed my world. Maya's hands shook. She was talking to an alien, a real alien. My people, the Kahari, lived in peace for thousands of years. But the Dominion came. They kill or enslave everyone they find. I was trying to warn other worlds when they shot down my ship. The Dominion? Maya whispered so quietly that only she could hear it. A great empire that conquers everything. They are coming here next. Your world does not know the danger it faces. Maya felt sick to her stomach. This creature, this Zeth, was asking for help, just like her students did when they were scared or hurt. And the people in the hangar wanted to cut him open like he was just a thing to study. I cannot open my ship from inside. The crash damaged the controls. But if someone opens it from outside, I can live. I can help your people prepare for what is coming. Maya closed her eyes. This was crazy. She was a school teacher from Phoenix. She thanked soldiers and made cookies. She was not supposed to be talking to aliens about galactic empires. But she thought about her brother Danny. He died fighting people who wanted to hurt others. Would he want her to walk away from someone who needed help? What do you need me to do? She whispered. Maya Rodriguez had no idea that her simple question would change the fate of the entire galaxy. Maya waited until midnight before she returned to the Air Force Base. She had spent the whole evening thinking about Zeth and what he had told her. The alien's voice still echoed in her mind, asking for help. She parked her car far from Hangar 7 and walked through the shadows. The base was quiet except for the guards at the main gate. Maya knew the patrol schedules from her visits. She had 15 minutes before the next guard walked this route. The side door to the hangar was locked now, but Maya had brought a screwdriver from her garage. She had never broken into anywhere before, but she could not stop thinking about Zeth, trapped inside his damaged ship. The lock was old and simple. After 5 minutes of trying, the door opened with a soft click. Maya slipped inside and closed it behind her. The hangar was dark except for some small lights around Zeth's ship. The scientists and soldiers had gone home for the night. Only 2 guards stood near the main entrance, talking quietly about a baseball game. Maya crept toward the silver ship. Up close, she could see the crack more clearly. It ran from the top almost to the ground, like someone had hit the ship with a giant hammer. Zeth? She whispered. Are you awake? Maya Rodriguez. His voice came into her head immediately. You came back. I was not sure you would. I could not stop thinking about what you said, about your people in this dominion. The crack in my ship can be opened wider. There are small controls near the bottom, blue lights that pulse in a pattern. Maya found the lights Zeth described. When she pressed them in the right order, the crack began to widen with a soft hissing sound. Cool air flowed out, carrying a smell like rain and electricity. Zeth crawled out slowly. He was about Maya's height, but much thinner. His skin was blue-gray like she had seen through the crack, and his eyes were larger than human eyes. He wore a silver suit that seemed to be made of the same material as his ship. Thank you, Zeth said out loud now. His voice was soft and musical. I have not breathed fresh air in 3 days. Maya helped him stand. Are you hurt? My body will heal, but my heart is broken. I am the last of my people. Zeth looked around the hangar and saw all the equipment the humans had been using to study his ship. They were planning to cut me apart to learn how my body works. Not all humans are like that, Maya said. Some of us want to help. I hope you are right. Your world will need helpers soon. Zeth walked to his ship and pressed his hand against a section that looked exactly like the rest of the surface. A panel slid open, revealing a space filled with strange devices. This is my quantum communicator, Zeth said, pulling out something that looked like a crystal cube. With this, I can talk to other survivors across the galaxy. There are others? Yes. The Dominion does not kill everyone immediately. They keep some alive as slaves. Others escape and hide on distant worlds. But we have never been able to coordinate our efforts. Zeth activated the device. The crystal began to glow with soft blue light. and Maya heard faint voices speaking in languages she did not understand. "I am telling them about Earth," Zeth explained. "About humans. They are very interested." Over the next hour, Maya listened as Zeth spoke with beings from dozens of different worlds. Each had a similar story. The Dominion had come to their planet with massive ships and powerful weapons. Those who fought back were killed. Those who surrendered became slaves. "The Dominion has conquered 847 star systems," Zeth told Maya. "Billions of intelligent beings live under their control. Earth is small and far from the main trade routes, so you have been ignored until now. But that is changing." "Yes. The Dominion grows stronger every year. They will reach Earth within 5 of your years, maybe less." Maya felt overwhelmed. How could she, one elementary school teacher, help fight against an empire that controlled most of the galaxy? "You have something the other worlds did not," Zeth said, as if reading her thoughts. "You have shown me kindness without knowing anything about me. You risked your safety to help a stranger. Anyone would have done the same thing." "No, Maya Rodriguez, I have been to many worlds and met many species. Most think only of themselves when faced with danger, but humans seem different." Zeth showed Maya how to use the communicator. It was surprisingly simple. She just had to think about who she wanted to talk to, and the device would find them. "There is a group of escaped slaves hiding in the asteroid belt of a system called Corvin," Zeth said. "They have been alone for 10 years. Talk to them." Maya took the crystal cube. It felt warm in her hands. When she concentrated, she heard a new voice in her mind. "This is Vex of the Corvin Resistance. Who speaks to us?" "My name is Maya. I am from Earth. Zeth told me you need help organizing your people." For the next 2 hours, Maya talked with resistance groups across the galaxy. She used the same skills she used to coordinate school events and community fundraisers. She listened to their problems and helped them figure out solutions. The group on Corvin had weapons but no way to communicate with each other during raids. Maya suggested they use simple light signals, like she had taught her students during fire drills. A group of escaped prisoners on a world called Theta 9 had plenty of food, but no medical supplies. Maya connected them with former Dominion doctors, hiding on another planet. Slowly, Maya began to see patterns. Each group had strengths that could help other groups. They just needed someone to connect them and coordinate their efforts. "You are creating something that has never existed before," Zeth said with amazement. "A galaxy-wide resistance network." Maya looked at the crystal communicator in her hands. 3 hours ago, she had been a school teacher whose biggest problem was getting her students to pay attention during math class. Now she was talking to alien freedom fighters across the galaxy. "We need to get out of here," Maya said, hearing footsteps outside the hangar. "The morning shift will be here soon." Zeth gathered a few more devices from his ship. "Where can we go? Your military will search for me." Maya thought about her network of friends and contacts, people she had met through her work thanking soldiers, people who believed in helping others. "I know someone who might understand," she said. "Captain Jake Sullivan. He has a good heart." As they slipped out of the hangar and into the pre-dawn darkness, Maya realized her life had changed forever. She was no longer just thanking soldiers for their service. She was about to ask them to help her save the galaxy. Behind them, Zeth's empty ship sat in the hangar, waiting for scientists who would find nothing but an empty shell. The real treasure, the quantum communicator, and the knowledge it represented, was already beginning to awaken a sleeping galaxy to the possibility of freedom. Captain Jake Sullivan stared at the alien sitting in his kitchen. Even after 3 weeks, he still could not believe this was real. Zeth sat quietly at the small table, studying maps of Earth that Jake had spread out for him. "The Dominion Scout. Ships will arrive in 4 months, Zeth said without looking up. Maybe less. They always send 3 ships first to study a new world." Maya poured coffee for Jake and herself. She had been staying in Jake's guest room since they escaped from the Air Force base. The military was still searching for the missing alien, but they had no idea that Captain Sullivan was hiding him. "How many soldiers will be on those ships?" Jake asked. Each scout ship carries 50 Dominion troops and enough weapons to destroy a city, Zeth replied, but they will not attack immediately. First, they study your military strength and look for weaknesses. Maya sat down at the table. That gives us time to prepare. Over the past 3 weeks, Maya had been using Zeth's communicator every night. She now talked regularly with resistance groups on 37 different worlds. Each conversation taught her more about the Dominion and their methods. I think I know someone who can help us, Jake said. Colonel Amy Chen works at the Pentagon. She handles special projects that most people never hear about. Maya nodded. We need someone with authority. Someone who can make decisions without asking permission from 100 different people. The next day, Jake arranged a meeting with Colonel Chen at a small cafe in downtown Phoenix. Maya felt nervous as they walked inside. She had never talked to such a high-ranking military officer before. Colonel Chen was a small woman with gray hair and sharp eyes. She listened without speaking as Jake told her about Zeth and the coming invasion. When Jake finished, she sat quietly for a long time. Show me proof, she finally said. That evening, Colonel Chen met Zeth in Jake's backyard. Maya watched as the colonel asked Zeth dozens of questions about Dominion technology and tactics. Zeth answered each question patiently, sometimes drawing pictures in the dirt to explain complicated ideas. My God, Colonel Chen whispered after 2 hours. This is really happening. Within a week, Colonel Chen had assembled a secret team of military officers and scientists. They met in an abandoned warehouse outside Phoenix that Jake had rented using his own money. We cannot tell the regular military about this yet, Colonel Chen explained to the group. If word gets out, there will be panic. Politicians will want to negotiate with these Dominion creatures instead of fighting them. Maya looked around the warehouse at the 15 people Colonel Chen had recruited. There was Dr. Kevin Park, a robotics engineer who designed weapons systems, Lieutenant Nicole James, an Air Force pilot who flew experimental aircraft, Staff Sergeant Carlos Mendez, a Marine who had fought in 3 different wars. What exactly are we preparing for? Asked Dr. Park. Zeth stood up to address the group. The Dominion will send their scout ships to 3 locations on your planet. They always choose the same types of targets: your largest military bases, your biggest cities, and your most important leaders, so we know where they will attack, said Lieutenant James. That gives us an advantage. Maya had been thinking about this problem for days. It is not enough to just fight them when they get here. We need to learn from the other worlds that tried to resist. She activated Zeth's communicator and connected with Corex, a former military commander from a world called Theta Prime. His people had fought the Dominion for 6 months before being defeated. The biggest mistake we made was fighting them the way we always fought wars, Corex's voice said through the device. The Dominion expects enemies to use organized armies and predictable tactics, but humans might be different. How? Asked Sergeant Mendez. Humans adapt faster than any species I have encountered, Zeth answered. In 3 weeks, Maya has learned to coordinate resistance activities better than some beings who have been fighting the Dominion for years. Colonel Chen looked at Maya with new respect. What do you suggest we do? Maya had been organizing her thoughts like she organized lesson plans for her students. We need to think like teachers, not just soldiers. We need to train people all across the country, but we need to train them to fight in ways the Dominion has never seen before. Over the next month, Maya traveled to 12 different states. Colonel Chen had given her access to military transportation and communication systems. At each location, Maya met with National Guard units, police departments, and civilian volunteer groups. She did not tell them about aliens or galactic empires. Instead, she told them they were preparing for a new kind of terrorist threat. She taught them to work in small groups, to communicate without radios, and to strike fast before disappearing. In California, she worked with Dr. Park to establish a secret weapons development program. They took captured Dominion technology that Zeth provided and combined it with human engineering. The results amazed even Zeth. Your people create things that should not work according to known science, he told Maya after watching Dr. Park demonstrate a new type of energy weapon. But somehow they work perfectly. In Texas, Maya met with former Navy SEAL Alex Torres. He helped her design training programs that taught ordinary people to fight like Special Forces soldiers. Within weeks, they had trained over 300 civilians in advanced combat techniques. In New York, Lieutenant James worked with Maya to create a network of pilots who could fly anything from crop dusters to passenger jets. If the Dominion destroyed military airfields, these civilian pilots could still provide air support. But the most important development happened in Maya's own home state of Arizona. Sergeant Mendez had found an abandoned mining facility in the desert where they could establish a central command center. From here, we can coordinate resistance activities across the entire planet, Maya explained to Colonel Chen as they toured the facility. Just like I coordinate with the other worlds using Zeth's communicator. Colonel Chen nodded approvingly. You have built something remarkable in just 2 months, a completely invisible army that can strike from anywhere. Maya looked out across the desert. In 4 months, she had gone from being an elementary school teacher to commanding a secret resistance network that spanned the globe. She thought about her students back in Phoenix and wondered if she would ever see them again. The scout ships will be here in 2 weeks, Zeth announced that evening as Maya checked in with resistance groups on distant worlds. I can detect their quantum signatures approaching your solar system. Maya felt her heart racing, but she also felt ready. She had spent her whole adult life bringing people together and teaching them to work as a team. Now she would find out if those skills could save her world. Let them come, she said quietly. Earth is ready for them. What Maya did not know was that her activities had already been noticed by someone much more dangerous than Dominion scouts. The Emperor himself had heard reports of unusual resistance coordination across the galaxy, and he was very interested in meeting the person responsible. The first Dominion scout ship exploded over the Nevada desert at exactly 3 in the morning. Maya watched from the command center as the burning pieces fell like shooting stars across the dark sky. Target 2 is down, reported Lieutenant Nicole James over the radio. She was flying a modified F-16 that Dr. Kevin Park had equipped with alien energy weapons. Moving to intercept the second scout ship, Maya stood in front of a wall covered with maps and computer screens. Red dots showed the locations of Dominion ships, while green dots represented human resistance teams. After 6 months of preparation, her network was finally being tested in real combat. The third scout ship is landing near Los Angeles, announced Sergeant Carlos Mendez from his position in California. We have teams moving to surround it. Colonel Amy Chen watched Maya coordinate the battle with amazement. The young teacher moved between communication stations like a conductor leading an orchestra. She somehow kept track of dozens of different operations happening across 3 states at the same time. Zeth, are you picking up any communications from the scout ships? Maya asked. The alien worked at a console filled with captured Dominion technology. The second ship is calling for help. They are reporting that Earth's resistance is much stronger than expected. Maya smiled grimly. The Dominion scouts had expected to find a primitive world with simple weapons. Instead, they faced an invisible enemy that seemed to be everywhere at once. Human fighters appeared from hiding places, struck hard, and disappeared before the aliens could respond. The second scout ship is down, reported Lieutenant James. But I see more ships coming, much bigger ones. Through Zeth's equipment, Maya could see what was approaching Earth. 5 massive Dominion warships, each one large enough to carry 1,000 soldiers. This is it, Maya said to her team. The real invasion has started. But Maya had a plan that no one expected, not even her own people. Instead of just defending Earth, she was going to take the fight to the Dominion. Colonel Chen, is the fleet ready? Maya asked. Over the past 4 months, Maya had worked with resistance groups across the galaxy to design and build a secret fleet of ships. Each vessel combined human technology with alien engineering in ways that surprised even Zeth. The flagship was called the USS Liberty. It was half the size of a Dominion warship, but twice as fast. Dr. Park had designed weapons that could adapt to any enemy defense, while human pilots had learned to fly in patterns that confused alien tactical computers. All ships report ready, Colonel Chen announced. But Maya, are you sure about this plan? We are leaving Earth almost defenseless. Maya looked at the screens showing the approaching Dominion fleet. She had spent sleepless nights thinking about this decision. If she was wrong, Earth would be destroyed and billions of humans would die. The resistance networks I trained can protect Earth, Maya said. But if we do not stop the Dominion at their source, they will just keep sending more ships until we are overwhelmed. Maya activated Zeth's quantum communicator and spoke to resistance leaders on dozens of worlds. This is Maya Rodriguez calling all resistance cells. Operation Freedom begins now. Across the galaxy, beings who had lived as slaves for decades began to fight back. Maya had spent months teaching them the same coordination techniques she used with her human networks. Now former slaves on hundreds of worlds struck at the same time, overwhelming Dominion garrison forces. The rebellion is spreading faster than the Dominion can respond, reported Vex from the Corvin system. Our people are free for the first time in 20 years. Maya boarded the USS Liberty with her core team. Jake Sullivan had volunteered to pilot the ship, while Zeth served as tactical advisor. Dr. Park had installed his most advanced weapon systems, and Sergeant Mendez commanded a strike team of human and alien fighters. The Liberty and its escort ships left Earth's orbit just as the Dominion invasion fleet arrived. Maya watched through the ship's viewports as the two forces passed each other in space. She was betting everything on her belief that humans could do what no other species had managed, strike directly at the heart of the Dominion Empire. "Where are we going first?" asked Jake as he plotted their course through hyperspace. Maya consulted a list of target worlds that she had compiled with help from resistance contacts. Kepler 442b. The Dominion has a major supply depot there, and 3,000 Thurian warriors are being held as slaves. The Thurians had once been the finest fighters in the galaxy before the Dominion conquered their homeworld. If Maya could free them, she would gain powerful allies for the battles ahead. The Liberty emerged from hyperspace near Kepler 442b 3 days later. The planet was brown and rocky, with huge factories that produced weapons and equipment for the Dominion military. "I count 12 orbital defense platforms and at least 50 patrol ships," reported Lieutenant James from the Liberty's fighter bay. Maya studied the tactical display. A direct assault would be suicide, but she had learned something important from her months of coordinating resistance activities. Sometimes the best way to win a fight was not to fight at all. "Zeth, can you hack into their communication systems?" Maya asked. Within an hour, Zeth had broken into the planet's computer networks. Maya used the captured communications equipment to broadcast a message directly to the Thurian slaves in the factories below. "This is Maya Rodriguez of the Liberation Fleet," she announced in the Thurian language that Zeth had taught her. "We are here to free you. When you see our ships attacking the orbital platforms, break your chains and fight." The battle for Kepler 442b lasted only 6 hours. As Maya's ships engaged the orbital defenses, 3,000 Thurian warriors rose up in the factories below. They had been waiting for this moment for 15 years. By the end of the day, Kepler 442b was free. The Thurians joined Maya's growing fleet, bringing their own ships and weapons. More importantly, they brought knowledge of other worlds where their people were held captive. "You fight like no species we have ever seen," said Thurian war leader Kex as he met with Maya aboard the Liberty. "Your tactics make no sense according to military doctrine, but they work perfectly." Maya smiled. "We do not follow military doctrine. We follow the doctrine of bringing people together and helping them help each other." Over the next 3 months, Maya's liberation fleet grew from 20 ships to over 200. Each world they freed added more ships and more fighters to their cause. The Vrillani contributed their engineering skills. The Zephyrians brought advanced medical technology. The Corvani added their knowledge of Dominion weak points. But with each victory, Maya knew they were getting closer to the ultimate test: intelligence. Reports indicated that the Dominion Emperor was gathering his most powerful fleets at the capital world of Varos Prime. If Maya wanted to end this war, she would have to face him there. "The Emperor has activated his planet killer weapon," Zeth announced during a strategy meeting. "He plans to use it on Earth as punishment for starting this rebellion." Maya felt ice in her veins. Her homeworld was in danger, and she was millions of light years away. "How long do we have?" she asked. The weapon needs 2 weeks to charge to full power, Zeth replied. After that, Earth will be destroyed in seconds. Maya looked around the command center of the Liberty at her diverse crew of humans and aliens. In 8 months, she had gone from thanking soldiers at an Air Force base to commanding the largest liberation fleet in galactic history. Set course for Veros Prime, she ordered Jake. It is time to end this war. Maya Rodriguez, the elementary school teacher from Phoenix, was about to attempt something that no military commander in galactic history had ever tried: a direct assault on the most heavily defended world in the universe. Veros Prime hung in space like a dark jewel surrounded by 1,000 points of light. Maya stood on the bridge of the USS Liberty, watching through the viewports as her liberation fleet approached the most heavily defended world in the galaxy. Count over 3,000 Dominion warships protecting the planet, reported Lieutenant Nicole James from her fighter squadron, plus orbital weapons platforms that could destroy entire moons. Maya studied the tactical displays showing the massive enemy forces. Her fleet had grown to 400 ships during their journey to Veros Prime, but they were still outnumbered 8-1. Zeth, how much time before the planet killer weapon fires on Earth? Maya asked. The alien checked his instruments with worried eyes. 6 hours. The weapon is almost fully charged. Maya felt the weight of 2 worlds pressing down on her shoulders. If she failed here, both Earth and Veros Prime would be destroyed. Billions of beings would die because of her decisions. All ship commanders, this is Maya Rodriguez, she announced over the fleet communications. Today we end the Dominion forever. Remember what we are fighting for: not conquest, but freedom for every being in the galaxy, the Liberation Fleet. Spread out as they approached Veros Prime, Maya had learned that the best way to fight the Dominion was to do things they did not expect. Instead of attacking in organized formations, her ships moved in seemingly random patterns that confused the enemy tactical computers. Thurian war leader Kex, take your ships and attack the northern orbital platforms, Maya ordered. Vrlani engineering chief Nox, use your technical ships to hack their defensive networks. All human pilots, you are with me for the direct assault. On the palace, the battle began with explosions that lit up the darkness of space. Dominion ships fired massive energy beams that could cut through solid metal, but Maya's ships were too fast and unpredictable to hit easily. Jake Sullivan piloted the Liberty through the chaos with incredible skill. Maya, we are getting reports from across the galaxy. Your broadcast signal is reaching every Dominion world simultaneously. Maya had planned this moment for weeks. As the battle raged around Veros Prime, she was broadcasting a message to every enslaved being in the Dominion Empire. My name is Maya Rodriguez, she said into the quantum communicator that reached across space instantly. I was a teacher on a small world that the Dominion planned to destroy. But I learned that when people work together, they can overcome any enemy. On 1,000 worlds, beings who had never heard of Earth listened to Maya's words. She spoke not as a military commander, but as someone who understood what it meant to feel helpless and afraid. Freedom is not something that others give to you, Maya continued. It is something you take for yourself. Today, we take it together. Across the galaxy, simultaneous uprisings began on every Dominion world. Slaves broke their chains, prisoners escaped from their cells, and resistance fighters emerged from hiding. The Dominion Empire, which had seemed unbreakable for centuries, began to crumble from within. Maya, we are getting through their defenses, reported Dr. Kevin Park from the Liberty's weapons control station. My adaptive weapons are learning to counter their shields faster than they can adjust. The Liberation Fleet punched through the orbital defenses and began landing troops on Veros Prime itself. Maya led a strike team that included Jake, Sergeant, Carlos Mendez, and Zeth toward the Imperial Palace where Emperor Vaxthul waited. The palace was a massive structure made of black stone that rose into the clouds. Maya and her team fought their way through corridors filled with Dominion guards, using tactics that combined human creativity with alien technology. The Emperor is in the throne room at the top of the palace, Zeth said as they climbed endless staircases. But Maya, you should know something. He has been watching you for months. He knows about your methods. Maya felt a chill of fear. But she kept moving upward. She had come too far to stop now. The throne room was a circular chamber, with walls covered in screens showing battles across the galaxy. Emperor Vaxthul sat on a throne made of what looked like crystallized starlight. He was larger than most Dominion soldiers, with silver skin and eyes like burning coals. "Maya Rodriguez," the Emperor said in perfect English. "The little teacher who thinks she can change the galaxy." "I already have changed it," Maya replied, raising her weapon. "Your empire is falling apart. Your own people are joining the rebellion." Emperor Vaxthul laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "Do you think this is the first rebellion I have faced? I have crushed 1,000 uprisings over the centuries. I will crush yours as well." "But you have never faced humans before," Maya said. The Emperor stood up from his throne. "Humans are nothing special. You are just another primitive species that will bow before the Dominion." Maya shook her head. "You still do not understand. We do not fight like other species. We do not think like other species. We adapt and change and find solutions that should be impossible." "Then show me," the Emperor challenged. Maya did something that no military commander in galactic history had ever done. Instead of attacking the Emperor, she sat down on the floor of the throne room. "What are you doing?" Emperor Vaxthul demanded. "I am teaching you a lesson," Maya said calmly. "The same lesson I taught my students back on Earth. Sometimes the best way to solve a problem is not to fight it, but to understand it." Maya activated her communicator and connected to resistance groups across the galaxy. "Everyone stop fighting," she announced. "Lay down your weapons and step back." Across Veros Prime and on 1,000 other worlds, the fighting stopped. Liberation forces and Dominion troops stood facing each other in confused silence. "Now watch your screens, Emperor," Maya said. The displays around the throne room showed scenes from across the Dominion Empire. Everywhere, beings who had been enemies moments before were talking to each other. Former slaves were offering food and medical care to Dominion soldiers who laid down their weapons. "This is impossible," the Emperor whispered. "They should be killing each other." "This is what humans do best," Maya explained. "We bring people together. We build communities. We turn enemies into friends." One by one, Dominion commanders across the galaxy began surrendering to the liberation forces, not because they were defeated in battle, but because they saw a better way to live. Emperor Vaxthul stared at the screens in shock. His 1,000-year empire was ending not with violence, but with beings choosing to work together instead of fighting. "How?" he asked. Maya stood up and looked the Emperor in the eyes. "Because I learned something important when I was thanking soldiers at an Air Force base. The strongest force in the universe is not fear or hatred. It is people caring about each other." The Emperor's shoulders sagged in defeat. For the first time in centuries, he had met someone who was stronger than he was. 3 hours later, the planet-killer weapon that threatened Earth was shut down by its own crew. The Dominion Empire officially surrendered, and Maya Rodriguez became the coordinator of a new galactic government based on cooperation instead of conquest. Years later, Maya returned to Earth as an old woman. She visited the memorial wall at Luke Air Force Base, where the names of all the soldiers who died fighting the Dominion were carved in black stone. She placed a small bouquet of flowers at the base of the wall and whispered the words she had said so many times before. "Thank you for your service." But now Maya knew that sometimes the greatest service was not fighting wars, but preventing them by bringing people together in the darkest of times.